All right, let's look at some options for fades. I'm just going to make that. It's not part of the file. That was the loop that we imported. So obviously with fades, we have fade ins, we have fade outs, we have crossfades. And in the fades dialog box, we have presets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you create a fade shape that you want to save as a preset, you just hold down the command key on Mac or control key on Windows and click the number, and now that will be one of the fade shapes. And there are some predefined in here for you, but you can overwrite those with the shapes that you love. And then the next, the library menu, of course we can hit the factory default, and I'll go back to the factory default, but there's other options in here. We can save settings. So save settings, if you've opened a settings file from the library menu, clicking the saves menu will overwrite the settings file with new settings. So if we open something, changed it, we can save it again. Save settings as, if we haven't done anything, like click on default and we press save settings, will come up the dialog box, but if we've done something, we can save settings as, and it'll create a new preset name, and then we can decide where we want to save that. If we want to save it in the root settings folder, and you bring this up in any Pro Tools session, or you want to put it in the session folder and just use it with this session, you can say OK. So now Jeff's Fave is one of the presets that we have, and you can even look in our session file, and now we have a preset crossfade called Jeff's Fade. Jeff's Fave, favorite fade, right? So the other options in here, we can delete the current settings file. So if I do that, are you sure you want to delete this? Yes, I want to delete it. So now Jeff's Fave is no longer there. So now we don't have any fade presets. Jeff's Fade is not there. And then finally, we talked about just a second ago, but save fade settings to, by default, the root settings folder, or you can put it in your session folder. So those are just a few more things about the fades dialog box. Next up, I want to take some of these fades out, and let's put a few more areas in here, because we're going to look at some batch fade techniques. So, and specifically where we put crossfades. You know, the crossfades are the fades between clips. So if I was adding a crossfade here, typically the crossfade is centered on that area, that point between two subset clips. But what if we wanted the fade point to be just before it or just after it? So if we bring up the fades dialog box, we have these placement options. So I can put the crossfade pre-slice, I can center it. Center is kind of the default area, or I can put it post-slice. Let's select pre-slice. So now it's putting the crossfade before every splice point. I only had a few things listed there, so I only put it in one, but the idea here is that we can put it before the splice point, center it over the splice point, or just after the splice point.